Hey there, it's Joyce, and in today's Money Minute, we're going to talk about my favorite project management to do list tool, Asana. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Asana and how I actually use it. A lot of people call this baby, pretty much a to do list tracker or but to do that, I think it's kind of an insult to Asana because to me, it's more of a project management tool. You can use it as a very light CRM to kind of just, you know, track various different aspects of your business. And again, like I said, it's very cool in my opinion. You can do tons of things, you know track what's being done in your dashboard. There's a picture of the dashboard. You can also track task lists for your projects. You can track them from start to finish. You can do a ton of things in Asana besides just doing a to-do list, whether it's just you or you have a small team. I kind of liked it, at least for me, for various reasons. I used it before I had a team member. I have a very small team right now in my business, but I also used it prior to having a team, and in using it just for me and to keep track of all the things that I do in my business as well as my personal stuff too, so that I didn't forget birthdays and didn't forget when I was supposed to meet somebody for, in a couple of weeks for dinner or something like that. So I used it to really keep track of my calendar and to make sure that I wasn't overextending myself, which can be a problem when you are in business for yourself, or you work by yourself, solo. So yeah, and as you can see, they have a very cool interface, whether it's on your tablet, your desktop, your laptop, your iPhone, or your Android. So that's to me like the very the little things. Before you decide on a project management tool, this is pretty much what I did. You can, a lot of them are free and you can kind of test drive them and all that good stuff. But before you do that and before you dig into all the testing and the trials and all that good stuff, figure out what your must-have needs and features are. For me, the two must-haves that I needed was a drag and drop calendar and a way to have a centralized calendar, because I found that when everything was all over the place and in multiple calendars, I had a tendency to overbook my calendar and overcommit myself to the things that I thought that I could accomplish in a day. So, and that's especially important when you are, a micro business or a small business owner. And, I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to log in. And as you can see, I got some test accounts too. I use my Google account to log in, which is another thing that I love about Asana, that I can just click a button, especially if I'm already logged in, and it'll take me straight to my Asana. All right, so here we are in my task list, and as you can see, I got quite a bit on here. So, like I was saying, in my business as a consultant, one of the things that I absolutely needed was one centralized calendar. Even though I have like various teams, including my, a separate listing for my various clients, client services, marketing, and I even keep like a little personal one too. Um, I wanted to have one calendar. And what I found on some other very cool ones that I could do drag and drop on the calendar with, they didn't have a centralized calendar. So I had to kind of flip between projects in order to, you know, in order to see what was on the calendar. So instead of having one calendar, I had, several calendars. I had like, client calendars, I had client service calendars, I had a marketing calendar, and I had a personal calendar. So we're talking like 7 or 8 different calendars minimum. And that's just, before I even got to my client work, that I had to juggle, which was a problem. So again, I have one central list, even though you can still go into, my various client lists too, and my various my various project lists, and see a calendar there too. So here's my calendar. It's a lot, so bear with me, and just think it was a whole lot more before I hired an assistant. So I track everything on here, follow ups, um, you know, personal stuff like working out regularly and all that good stuff. So, but again, like I said, the beauty of it is I'm able to just drag this to another day. I'm going to drag it back in a second, but I can drag it to another day so that, I don't have to actually go into every single thing and then change the dates and, and all that drudgery. And, which I found to be a problem on other project management systems, is that in order to change dates, I would have to individually, change a date. Whereas here, I can just click it, drag it, boom, it's done. Or, if I need to change multiple things, I can highlight them as soon as this populates. I can highlight several things and change a due date that way. So I'm not going to do that. But those are the various ways. I mean, it sounds like a very little thing, a very simple thing, but that is, it's important to me because it saves time, a ton of time. Um, and, and when you're talking about trying to do client work and you're trying to do your own work, you consider your business a client as well. Every minute counts. So, trying to reschedule tasks and projects and all that good stuff can be worrisome, especially if you have to click in and change dates multiple times. So that was one thing that was important to me. And again, I told you about the calendar in one place. Although, like say for instance, this is my new members club that's launching. That has an individual calendar as well that you can take a look at. So this is the calendar just for this particular product, the launch of this particular project or product. So you can see everything on this particular calendar. But if I go to my task, I can also see those things. They're in that light green. You'll see them pop up in here as well, alongside of all of my other things. My personal things, my marketing things, and my client things. So I have everything kind of smushed onto one calendar, which I really like, because then I can schedule my work accordingly. So that was one thing. And the cool thing that I also like too is you can attach the files, and this was like the third thing that I like, but just kind of an additional thing. So these are like the files these are the most recent files that I've attached. There's a ton more files. As you can see, it's still working. But there's a ton more files that I have saved in here, a bunch of PDFs. so that, I can, instead of posting a link to something like to Dropbox or whatever, you can actually link your Dropbox account to here, and your teammates can see, or open up a file if they need to, and take a peek at what you're talking about, especially when you are discussing things within Asana. So I mean, that's for me is the top couple of things. And my Asana isn't as clean as I would like it to be, but a friend of mine, Natasha of Systems Rock, was able to help me to whip it into shape a little bit more. But and I still need to go back and rework it a little bit, but it's working for me. I've been using it for a little over a year now, and I like how I'm able to not only keep myself on track, but to keep my teammates on track. They seem to like it too. So, in my business as a consultant and as a business coach, there are a couple things, especially geared towards accountants, but not so much where I can also track my marketing workflows, my client services, my personal stuff in one place. It would be very easy for me to pull out just the client stuff and keep it there, but I didn't really want to do that because once I do that, then we're talking about once I do that, then we're talking about I have to-do lists, etc., in a bunch of different places. And that defeats the purpose of having a centralized project calendar. So that for me is why I like Asana. That it's simplistic enough to create different types of things, like a light CRM, but it's robust enough that you can have tons of different teams, tons of different calendars, and it not really overwhelm you too much anyway. So that's it for Asana and my review of Asana and showing you around my Asana just a little bit. So if you have questions about Asana or want me to go into additional detail about how I use it in my business, you can shoot me an email by going to thecommonsense.com /contact us as soon as that loads. Otherwise, I will chat with you soon. And oh yeah, if you like this video, you can like it, or you can subscribe to my channel. And I'd love to have you around. Thanks, and have a great day.